Olympic officials have confirmed that a cyber attack took place during the opening ceremony for the Pyeongchang Games. According to Reuters, organizers say the attack was mainly on TV and internet access, and in some cases, it lasted for 12 hours. No information about the attackers has been revealed, at least not yet. For more on this, let's bring in Mark Nunnikhoven. He's the Vice President of Cloud Research at Trend Micro. Mark, what were these attackers after? Do you have any sense?
So this is the interesting thing about this attack, is it seemed that it was aimed at disruption. So normally we see cyber criminals attacking to either steal data or for profit, but all indicators for this attack is that they were looking to disrupt the games in order to make a splash.
Okay, but an attack was surely to have been expected. What does it tell us that on the very first night of the games, at the opening ceremonies, one was able to get through the whatever security was in place and pulled one off?
So I think it's really important to recognize that the Olympics are probably the target when it comes to hackers. We've seen this with every successive games. They've been more and more of a target, and the team behind operations at the Olympics does a phenomenal job at keeping all of this from the public eye. So it just happens in the background and the games continue on undisrupted, right? Whereas this year, this is the first time we've seen them actually acknowledge that an attack had an impact on the games themselves on site as well as for viewers around the world. So it's the first time we've seen one slip through the defenses, even though those defenses are world class.
Look into your crystal ball for me. What do you think? Will we see more of these kinds of attacks, and do you expect them to have more of an impact than the one we saw at the opening ceremonies?
Looking in that crystal ball, I'm going to tell you they are going to see more attacks. It's just inevitable. We've seen that rise. It's too tempting a target for hackers to make a name for themselves, but I'm really confident that this organization, the Olympic Games Committee and the operations teams on site will continue to fend those off, and this is just a small blip in what otherwise is going to be a fantastic games.
You know, though, you and I, when we talk about these kinds of attacks, often talk about what the value that the hackers are going after. Sometimes it's data, sometimes it's money, it's all different kinds of things. Is the value in carrying out an attack on something like the Olympics, what you touched on earlier, just the name recognition that you were able to pull off something like that?
It is, absolutely. It's cred in the underground, right? For you to be able to say as a hacker, I took down the Olympic Games, I had an impact, it was me, that means you can charge premium rates for your services, you'll get more underground customers, and you're going to make more money overall, as well as just bragging rights within the criminal community.
You know, leading up to Sochi, and I was there, so I went through a bunch of the different sort of security protocols as we were heading over, and one of the main ones was around cybersecurity. Don't use, you know, open Wi-Fi connections, all these different things that people could do to protect themselves. Most people, or more people than ever, are watching these games online, on their devices, on their computers, on their whatever it may be. Are there things that we should be doing as consumers of the event to try to protect ourselves?
So it's a really good question, and a lot of the security is around people who are on site. Because they're on foreign soil, they're connecting to unknown networks, there's a lot of that training that you yourself went through and the entire CBC team in order to keep themselves safe so that they don't have their credentials leaked out and make things easy for hackers. For viewers at home, the good news is that there's very little risk to viewers at home. You can enjoy the best coverage ever by simply selecting the feeds you want, and there's essentially no risk to you at home. What you do need to look out for is criminals will up their game around phishing campaigns, sending out links via email saying, did you see that gold medal performance by the Canadian figure skating team last night? Click here to go and see that video. That's normally an opening that we see spike around the Olympic time. The safest route is go through your approved apps, So pull up the CBC Olympic app, click on the figure skating link through that way. Don't click on these links that are sent to you via email.
It's remarkable that, you know, for all the technology, it's the human problem. We still click on those emails, don't we?
It is. It's understandable. It's tempting. You want to see the latest and greatest. The good news is it's easier than ever to find it through legitimate, approved sources.
Indeed it is. Mark, thanks for this. Mark Nunnikhoven, Vice President of Cloud Research at Trend Micro.